My name is Alejandro Sola, and I'm a customer of Benefit Wallet, which holds my health savings account. The Benefit Wallet website led me to believe that I hadn't maximized my tax-exempt contributions for fiscal year 2017. And when they called their customer service to confirm that, they confirmed that I should still contribute a bit more to maximize my benefit. When I was employed at Mylan, Mylan chose Benefit Wallet as the provider of HSAs, health savings accounts. I'm not sure if you want me to expound on what that is or why it's used, but I have a bunch of savings on my HSA, of course, which I use to cater for my family's medical needs. They give you a very nice and handy credit card, and I use those to pay for my health expenses that are not otherwise covered by insurance or whatever. Now, all this has to be all that money is really my money, which has to be deposited on the health savings account within certain limits that are established by federal law. So in my case, because I have a family, while I was an employee at Mylan, I was allowed to deposit $6,750 per year. And I've always been very careful in understanding how much money I put in and how much money I put out. And my aim has always been to maximize my health savings accounts, to maximize deposits, because it's tax-free money that you can use on any sort of medical expense, even years after you have a health plan that doesn't qualify for use of an HSA. So it's a really tax advantageous thing to do. I therefore very carefully made my deposits to my health savings account last year, and when I was doing my taxes this year, I do my taxes myself, I logged into the Benefit Wallet account. The Benefit Wallet account gave me a list of transactions with dates and amounts, and the transactions had no description whatsoever. They would only say, on such and such date you entered $300, on such and such date you use so many dollars, and so on and so forth. I wanted to, because I was doing my taxes, I wanted to maximize my contributions to the health savings account. So I called their service support, and their customer support tells me, yes, look, man, you didn't maximize your contributions last year according to my records. So according to my records, and also according to the Benefits Wallet website, I had under deposited on my health savings account for an amount like $1,200, something like that. So I said, well, I can still make, the IRS allows me still to make contributions after the tax year is over. So my contributions for 2017, according to them, hadn't been maximized. So I make a contribution online. It's really easy. It goes to my direct deposit, and off it goes. And then I start looking at the records in more detail, and I think something is not right. I add up the different contributions, and in some way, if you added my contributions in some ways, they had the exact amount I should have deposited last year. However, to make this even more confusing, sometimes there are cases in which you have to return what they call an incorrect distribution. An incorrect distribution happened, for example, with the crappy dental insurance I used to have then. I had dental insurance which I paid for with my Benefit Wallet account, and I paid for the treatment, and I paid for dental treatment in full. But the insurance, instead of deducting their share at the point of payment, they do it after the fact. So this insurance, to make things really complicated, I would pay for the treatment in full, and then I would get a check in the mail for the insurance's share. And apparently many dental insurances work that way. So I deposited my checks, but of course I couldn't deposit them directly on my health savings account. I did the easy thing. I deposited them on my bank account, and then those amounts have to be returned legally to the health savings account. Again, if my insurance covers 300 and the total payment is 400, I pay the 400 in full with my benefit wallet account. Then I get a $300 check in the mail, and that check should be recontributed again to the health savings account. And that is labeled as return of an incorrect distribution. Because I have a daughter getting orthodontia, I had several of those checks last year, adding up to something almost $1,000. So I made a lot of returns of incorrect distributions, and it's really difficult for a normal everyday working parent to find out, to remember exactly what you returned as an incorrect distribution and what you didn't. But according to these characters, well, you know, maybe everything you did was a contribution. So they consider these $300, they consider they didn't code it correctly, even though I sent them the check for the return with a form they give you themselves that's called return of incorrect distribution. They coded it incorrectly. So they made up a royal mess for which I am liable to the IRS, because the net result was that these checks, instead of considering them what they were, return of incorrect distributions, they considered them as additional contributions above and beyond the federally acceptable contribution. Now, if you make those contributions, you are liable to a fine by the IRS, and it's a pretty hefty fine. So after my second talk with their customer service, I now didn't know what the hell had happened, what I contributed or not contributed. After a couple of more calls, I finally got a customer service agent who knew what she was doing, and she told me what had happened. We went over each of these annotations on the website, over each of these dates and amounts. Hey, this one was a legitimate contribution by you, a legitimate contribution by your employer. Oh, this one you think is a return of your incorrect distribution? I said, yes. I have the check, I have my checkbook, and here on my check I had written return of incorrect distribution. So the thing that I sent you on such and such date for such and such amount is a return of an incorrect distribution, and you should classify it correctly so that the IRS will do the right thing. We went over that in painstaking detail, and finally they recoded correctly the return of incorrect distributions that they hadn't coded correctly. But then it turns out that at the end of the year I had done my sums correctly, and what I had been led both by their faulty website and by their first couple of customer service agents was essentially what I had topped up was above and beyond what the IRS allows. So now they tell me, okay, then sir, you made an incorrect contribution. So I have to send them another form that's called return of incorrect contribution, and they will send me back a check for that amount. But for that privilege, which was caused entirely by the lack of information on their website and the lack of information of their first two customer service reps, they will charge me a $25 fee. Now, I suspect that most people, when put in this situation, let it be. But frankly, I've been through my fair share of corporate abuse. So I actually contacted your website, the Better Business Bureau, and a bunch of other places. The Better Business Bureau, to their credit, acted pretty fast, and the benefit wallet offered me, okay, sir, we will do what you asked. We will reclassify the things that we had wrongly classified as an additional contribution, as a return of incorrect distribution. And on top of that, we will graciously waive the fee, the $25 fee for the returning of your incorrect contribution, which had been caused by their own faulty website and faulty information in the first place. So I'm wondering, of course, how many and that's full of the usual corporate apologies, right? We're sorry you felt this way, yada yada yada. So I know, again, I had decent notes. I worked in analytics, so I'm in a better position than most to understand how this thing works and to stand up for my rights. Most people, I assume, will pay whatever exorbitant fees come their way, will pay to the IRS maybe some fines coming out of the blue, and companies get away with it. It pisses me off.